So Bryan, today we're talking about recommended service intervals. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that we know we need to service on our cars. We need to get oil changes, we need to replace our tires, like there's a lot of stuff, and I don't know them all because I'm not a car expert, but obviously that's what you and your team are for. So could you kind of just talk to me a little bit about like what those recommendations are for the services that you need for your car, the ones that are just like recurring every couple months or whatever the interval is?
Sure, yeah, and even some of the basics of why it's important, right? Like, so cars are super expensive, and I wouldn't even say investment because they're not an investment; it's an expense.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is try to minimize the expense of ownership. And if you take good care of the car and you do the maintenance on it right from the scratch, from when they're new, you can get a much longer service life out of them for a lot less money. Minimize the repairs, just roll along with maintenance. So like everything, there's service intervals. Like you mentioned, there's oil service, spark plugs, rotate the tires, replace the tires sometimes. Almost everything has got a service life. Air filters, belts. But it's so much cheaper to do the service when it's recommended or at the ideal time anyway, than it is to wait until there's a problem. So yeah, we do a really thorough job of keeping track of what type of service or maintenance should be done when to maximize the value and minimize your expenses of ownership of that car. The rule of thumb was that we did a spreadsheet where you can compare what it costs to keep a car and maintain it over a period of time versus replace it, like every 3 years. And if you can run a car to like 200,000 miles, which is easy now, maintain it well, versus replace it like every 3 or 4 years, it could save you like $100,000 over the course of your lifetime of driving. Yeah. That's a lot of money.
And people really don't think about that. So I think having that spreadsheet like as a visual would really kind of like open people's eyes about how much money they might be spending if they're just replacing.
Right, and so where the really huge saving comes in with owning a car is kind of after it's paid off, right? So after 5-6 years or whatever the term is going to be. Now you've got some miles on it already. Yeah. But you're not paying payments on it anymore. The insurance is cheaper. The depreciation is just going way down, so it's not depreciating much anymore. So now the only big expense is, if it comes up, is a repair. So you can help minimize those a ton by doing good maintenance.
And who doesn't want to do that? I mean, we've all been there where all of a sudden our car starts acting up and you're like, oh my gosh, how much is this going to be? $500, $600 or more or less,
Yes.
Even if it's a cheaper expense, people don't want to have to throw that money out if they could get it for cheaper by just doing maintenance. So obviously it depends on the type of car you have or the type of vehicle. Your intervals are going to be a little bit different, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we track all that. We use the vehicle specific manufacturer's recommendations with a grain of salt, because like, for example, they'll say transmission fluid, it's lifetime. It is lifetime. When the transmission quits working, the fluid's done. But if we change the fluid at 60,000 miles instead of never, we could probably double the life of the transmission.
Got it.
So
that makes sense.
An example, oil change intervals, shorten them 30%, the engine will last almost forever.
Wow.
And it doesn't cost hardly anything when you reduce that interval by that percentage.
So. And you said you guys keep track of that, and I think that's one of the best things about it, because for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, if you're not really a car person, maybe you have a car and you love it, like it's your dream car, but I mean, if you're not a professional, who wants to try to keep track of all those things, or who has time in their lives to keep track of all
Everyone's
those things?
Busy now.
So knowing that they can just come to Weber Automotive, get in your system, and then know when all of their services are due and their maintenance and stuff, it's a perfect solution. So
we try to make it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you want to make it easy and you want to work with Weber Automotive, bring your car in for maintenance or any repairs, make sure you're getting in contact with them. You can give them a call. You can reach out on the website, weberautomotive.com, and learn more about their services. And I know Bryan and his team will be looking forward to talking to you soon. So thank you. Absolutely. And thanks, Bryan.
Thanks, Alicia.